Hi, I'm Ranger Fay. Welcome to another edition of Glacier Bay Ranger Minutes. I'm here to invite you to one of the world's most remarkable places. Glacier Bay National Park has been visited by tourists for over 100 years, the first being the naturalist and undaunted conservationist John Muir. Muir arrived in an open canoe, accompanied by 4 Tlingit people, who served as his interpreters and guides. They had an intimate knowledge of the bay, and they knew how to get him to his destination safely. His subsequent writings inspired people to come and to discover the wondrous scenes of Glacier Bay for themselves. And come they did. The first cruise ship to enter Glacier Bay, a steamer named the Idaho, entered in 1883, less than 4 years after Muir's first arrival. And people have been coming on ships to see the magnificent tidewater glaciers and the abundant wildlife of Glacier Bay ever since. Their writings and postcards home described the wondrous scene. As it was 100 years ago, a visit to Glacier Bay National Park today is still the highlight of any Alaska itinerary. 400,000 travelers each year now visit Glacier Bay National Park by cruise ship. So let me now share with you the ways in which visiting Glacier Bay National Park has changed over the past 100 years and how it is still very similar. Oh, to visit Alaska and then to have the good fortune to visit Glacier Bay. The more you read about it, the more you hope. I can assure you that there is but 1 hour in life, and that the present one. So I would encourage you, my dear friends, to make your plans to visit Glacier Bay with utmost speed and anticipation. Passengers then were just as excited as today. You will undoubtedly observe on your Alaska excursion a nervous impulse produced by the excitement of the voyage, which takes the form of a wonderful sense of urgency as you call your fellow passengers' attention to something that could only be seen at some particular spot. One of the differences with visiting Glacier Bay today is that you will have National Park rangers aboard with you, keeping you informed of these special sightings over the public address system and sharing the story of Glacier Bay National Park. Advice has always been given on what to bring with you on an Alaskan cruise. Today's passengers, of course, would be wise to bring their fleece jackets, Gore-Tex rain gear, with gloves and hats included. These will keep you as warm and dry as the woolen suits of yesteryear. Neckties and bustles not necessary. The ships have always been comfortable. You will, as in the past, find everything on your ship in apple pie order. Clean, neat, spacious, and thoroughly comfortable, with a promenade extending over the whole length of the ship. Yes, you will be able to travel through this vast wilderness with the comfort and safety that a cruise ship provides. The foods offered both then and now are delicious and abundant. Just think of it. Broiled salmon steak, roast chicken, cake and ice cream, delicious waffles, strawberries and cream, and lots of other fresh fruit. At the turn of the century, an entire meal would set you back all of 75 cents. If you would like wine with your dinner, $1 would pay the bill for the entire meal. On today's cruises, many meals are included in the price of your ticket. Some travelers in both eras have admitted to having but one nightmare, that they would gain weight on this calm, heartful, and stomachful life. On-shore excursions have also always been offered. Then, rowboats were lowered with about a dozen passengers in each, armed with alpenstocks, and were ferried in successive groups from the ship to the beach, where they began clambering over icebergs, posing for photographs, and climbing glaciers. Today, the ships will dock at a well-prepared port throughout southeast Alaska where local businesses offer various sightseeing opportunities that may include a helicopter visit to a glacier, hiking the nearby trails, or even a visit to a dog sled ranch. You may be very surprised to learn that there was even an opportunity for souvenir shopping in Glacier Bay in 1883. As the Idaho rounded the wooded shore, every glass was brought into requisition for signs of life on land. Finally, a canoe was paddled rapidly toward them, and a wild figure rose in the stern. It was Dick Willoughby, the first American pioneer in Alaska. The passengers were amazed to find in his store keepsakes such as Klingett bracelets and baskets, as well as lumber, fishing nets, and a variety of general merchandise. Today, books and other educational materials provided by Alaska Geographic are brought on board and offered for sale at the information desk. While the cost of a summer vacation, and that includes Glacier Bay today, may vary greatly with seasons, ships, and accommodations, passengers then would have purchased a long purple ticket that read from Sitka and return for several $100s. In 1899, Septima Collis was aboard the Queen. She paid $350 for her trip and wrote that the sum cannot be more profitably spent for a summer vacation. And this is more than it costs from New York to the icebergs and back. Think of it. Hardly the price of a French costume, a ring, or a bracelet, yet the memory of this trip will outlive them all. The early tourists often wrote of the quality of the captain of their ship and would often also discover that Captain Carroll was still full of enthusiasm about his trip, though he had been making it for the best part of his life. Today's cruise ship captains are just as enthusiastic about their visits to this newly deglaciated landscape. It is different every time they visit. They still work hard to provide the best possible route and daily schedule for their passengers. Visitors still thrill at the white thunder, the sound of the falling ice. And a visit to Glacier Bay is now within reach of the more economical traveler. There is more access than ever, and it is a great way for entire families, grandparents and children included, to share an outdoor adventure together and make memories. Today's visitor has a greater opportunity to see more of the bay because there is more of the bay to see. As glaciers have retreated over the years, there is more shoreline and vegetation, resulting in more land mammals, like bears, mountain goats, wolves, and moose. The glaciers continue to bring change to the bay, and they are still a spectacular highlight. On an Alaskan cruise, your Glacier Bay day will be a major highlight filled with lifelong memories. People have been visiting Glacier Bay for over 120 years, and I would like to invite you to come and to explore your national park, whether it is by means of sea kayak, tour boat, or cruise ship. It is nature that you come to see, and Glacier Bay is filled with opportunities to experience the ever-changing glaciers, the spectacular scenery, deep waters, and high mountains. And when, at long last, you arrive in the presence of whales, otters, puffins, and falling ice, you will know that you are a part of a long tradition as you gaze upon the wondrous scenes of Glacier Bay National Park. I look forward to sharing Glacier Bay with you, and thanks for joining me on another edition of Glacier Bay Ranger Minutes.